the ones who remain, hospitality, discernment, and the long punishment of continuity. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Hebrews 13:2. The command is simple. The warning is not. Hebrews does not tell the reader to identify angels. It tells the reader to behave rightly when identity is hidden. The test is not recognition, it is posture. And the reason given, angels unawares, is not metaphorical flourish. It is covenant logic rooted in Israel's oldest and most unsettling traditions. Scripture assumes a world in which messengers move among men without announcement, and where the unseen intersects the ordinary not through spectacle, but through silence. That assumption becomes dangerous only when it is sentimentalized. Angels, messengers, and the problem of continuity. The biblical word translated angel means messenger. It does not mean good. It does not mean holy. It does not mean trustworthy. Those qualifiers are supplied by context, not by the term itself. Scripture itself affirms that some messengers rebelled. Jude speaks plainly. The angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. The language is judicial, not annihilative. These beings are not described as destroyed. They are described as restrained, aware, and awaiting. This distinction matters, because ancient Jewish thought did not equate punishment with erasure. In much of Second Temple Judaism, punishment meant continuity under limitation. To continue without release. To remain without function. To endure without escape. 2. The Enochic witness, punishment as being forced to remain. The Book of Enoch, an extra-biblical text, but one known, cited, and assumed within the worldview of early Judaism and Christianity, makes this logic explicit. According to Enoch, the watchers who descended before the flood were judged in a specific way. They were cut off from heaven, they were denied return, their authority was revoked, their condition was fixed, their awareness remained. Modern shorthand says their wings were clipped. The ancient texts say something more severe. They were confined to the earth and to time. Enoch does not describe their punishment as death. It describes it as being forced to continue existing inside a corrupted condition until final judgment. This is why Enoch's punishment is feared more than execution. Death ends sequence. Continuation forces sequence to go on. In Enochic logic, the sentence is not, you will die. The sentence is, you will remain. 3. Long duration and the weight of time. Because the watcher's rebellion is placed before the flood, their confinement, within the worldview of the text, spans thousands of years. Later Jewish chronology situate this duration roughly in the range of 4 to 5 millennia, not as a precise scientific claim, but as a recognition of extreme temporal endurance. The Dead Sea Scrolls confirm that this was not French mythology. Fragments of the Book of Giants, found at Qumran, preserve the same core idea. The fallen watchers were not erased. They were contained, and their consequences persisted. This establishes an important theological principle. Judgment did not end them. Judgment confined them. IV. Your stated position, author's opinion. What follows is opinion, explicitly marked as such. Opinion. I believe these fallen beings age in a manner analogous to men, but within an immortal framework. They do not die as humans die. Their bodies deteriorate. Their spirits do not fade. I further believe that these beings possess, or have developed, age-reducing or body-preserving technologies, which must be periodically used to maintain function and appearance. When such restoration is delayed or refused, I believe their bodies eventually become corpse-like, degraded, immobilized, or grotesque, yet their consciousness remains intact, fully aware, unable to exit the body. This belief is not directly stated in Scripture. It is an attempt to synthesize the biblical insistence on conscious existence, Enoch's depiction of long-term punishment, Jewish concepts of continuity as judgment, and the logical problem of immortality under decay. If immortality is enforced without renewal, then decay does not end awareness, it traps it. The pattern of continuity, narrative framework. This is where the fiction becomes a lens rather than a claim. In the ones who remain, the fallen are not gods, demons, or rulers. They are prisoners who learn how to survive inside the sentence. They do not rule the world. They maintain continuity within it. Power, in this model, is not domination. It is infrastructure. The covenant does not exist to conquer. It exists to manage decay, stage deaths, disappearances, inheritance without origin, continuity without exposure. Those who refuse the cycle become remnants, beings who are alive, aware, immobile, sealed, unfinished. This fictional structure mirrors the theological claim of Enoch and Jude. The worst punishment is not death. It is never being allowed to be done. 6. Hebrews 13:2 revisited. Now return to Hebrews. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers. This is not a command to be naive. It is a command to be ethically consistent when identity is obscured. Because if some messengers are holy, some are fallen, some are bound, some endure across ages, and none announce themselves clearly, then righteousness must be practiced without certainty. Hospitality is commanded. Discernment is required. Cruelty is forbidden. Paranoia is condemned. You are not asked to identify angels. You are asked to act as though your behavior matters even when you don't know who you're dealing with. 7. Why witnesses matter. Your story introduces the most unsettling rule of all. Witnesses are permitted. Witnesses are required. This aligns with a deep biblical pattern. Judgment requires testimony. Truth requires memory. Continuity without witnesses becomes corruption. In allowing witnesses to exist, the watchers remember that they are still judged, even if the sentence is delayed. And perhaps this is the final warning of the chapter. The fallen do not persist because they are powerful. They persist because time itself has become their prison. They borrow years because they cannot create them. They hide because exposure reminds them of heaven. They fear stillness more than judgment. Closing warning. This chapter is not asking the reader to believe every detail. It is asking the reader to understand this. If immortal beings are denied release, immortality becomes starvation. And starvation produces systems, not monsters. So when Scripture warns you about strangers, it is not telling you to fear them. It is telling you to live as though every encounter is witnessed, by heaven, by history, and by beings who know what it means to remain when release is denied. Because the greatest punishment is not death. It is continuation without end.